Hey guys, in a previous video I actually went through all the keyboards I currently have in my collection, and I kind of split them up into customs and pre-built keyboards. So today I'm actually going to go more in depth into the custom keyboards I have, and just walk you through like the specs and some of the ideas as to why I built when I built it. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, first up on the list is this one. This was the first custom keyboard I ever built, and this is the Kbdfan Tofu 65, a DIY kit. So it comes in your choice of aluminum. I got mine in black, and then it has a polished brass weight that I have fingerprints all over, and the Kbdfan's logo is up there as well. So this is a pretty cool keyboard. I mean, it really was just like an experiment because I had never had a custom keyboard. I had never built my own, and so this was the first step, and it was really cool. These keycaps are just some cheap dye-sub keycaps that Kbdfan sells. I believe they're called the cheese set. I thought they were actually going to be much darker of a yellow, but they're pretty light in person. But it actually worked out because they kind of grew on me and I liked it. So I have a yellow underglow with some LEDs that are switch through hole LEDs. I'll take off this keycap and you can see I have Hakko Royal clear switches in there because I knew that because I like Cherry MX Browns, I know everybody's gonna wince at that, but I like the tactility that Cherry MX Browns had, so I got another tactile switch, and I like these way better than Browns, and they're pretty awesome. I know not a lot of people like the Hakko Royal clear, but I really do, and it's in quite a few of my builds. So now the sound of this is going to be awful because I didn't know how to tune stabilizers or to lube stabilizers. Like I didn't know about any of that. So I'm going to do a real quick type on it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, this is my first one, so I still use it to this day. I'm actually actively using it, and I don't know, I really like it. Even though it's an aluminum plate and the stabilizers aren't that great, I still think it's a pretty solid build. All right, next keyboard on our list is the Cake keyboard. One of my coworkers had nicknamed it the Cake keyboard because he, saw it and it reminded him of cake. So that's why I decided to call this one. But this was my first 60% keyboard. This is another one that was sourced entirely from Kbdfans, all the parts, and yeah, this one's actually really cool. It has a white back glow if I'm remembering correctly, and again, I didn't really know I was dealing with like stabilizers and stuff, so it doesn't sound the best, especially the spacebar. Like, look how rattly that is. Like, if you look at it, the spacebar is uneven. It's kind of hard to tell from this angle, but the spacebar is uneven on there, and some of the switches are definitely crooked. But I don't know, it was kind of one of those things that I wanted to build a quieter keyboard. So this has, it still has an aluminum plate and it's still an aluminum build, and this doesn't have any additional like weight to it. But it has Azalea's switches, 60 grams, I believe, 60 gram pressure ones. So they're a little bit quieter. Like if I was just to click the switch, they're much quieter than the Hakko Royal clears are. And so it made a much quieter typing experience, but to keep the cost down at the time, I still used the aluminum plate. You can kind of see it back there. And again, all these parts are sourced from Kbdfan, so nothing that you couldn't get your hands on. I'm gonna do a really quick type on it. Yeah, so all in all, pretty solid build. I mean, it looks really cool and I really like it. But I learned I don't like 60% keyboards. I really do enjoy having the dedicated arrow keys, and I tried this on a layer, but it just didn't work for me. So while I do like it because it was quieter and I kind of built it for a workplace environment, I definitely don't enjoy the fact that it's this compact. And basically I learned that no matter what, I definitely want to have dedicated arrow keys. All right, next up on our list is another kind of really interesting custom, and this is the Discipline. So the Discipline is a fully open source design by, I can't remember his name. I think it's like Cozy Fetty or something of that nature. But it's really cool. So the whole niche behind this keyboard is every single component on it is through hole. And you can see that up there with this acrylic window. Every single component is through hole. So these are all the diodes. And then here's the rest of the components. I mean, even it's a socketed IC for the microcontroller, and then it's even a through-hole USB-C. It's even a through-hole USB-C port. I don't know if you can, yeah, there we go, focused. So it's really cool. I kind of wish I could show you all. I didn't want to take it apart, but you can actually see all the through-hole components on the other side. And on the back side of this plate kind of that he has, it does say discipline on it. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see it in the light a little bit. And there's the name of the designer of it right there. So he did a really awesome job, and this was a pretty solid build for me. I actually used C3 stabs. You can see them, they're colorful. These are the orange ones. And then I used this PBT Vulcan keycap set I bought off of Z Frontier because, I don't know, I just thought it would look cool with the retro kind of look of the PCB. And it's really cool. He sells kits to this PCB, which comes with basically all the components you need, except the switches and the keycaps and the stabilizers. He sells it on his website from time to time, and he has several other designs now. I think he has a 10 keyless design, and I believe he also has a like a more compact. I don't think it's like a 60%. I think it might be actually smaller, but he has those as well. So I will leave a link to his website down in the description so you can take a look. But the design is completely open source, so you can actually get all of the like Gerber files for the PCBs and send them off to be manufactured. And there's a full parts list, so you can buy all the parts you need. Actually, my girlfriend was using this keyboard and she liked it so much that I ended up building her one for Christmas as like a surprise gift, because he was currently out of stock on his website, so I had to get everything custom ordered. But it was really cool, and I'm glad that I was able to do it because this is a really awesome design. Maybe I'll make a future video about hers because hers is really cool. I actually put it in an acrylic case and everything. But yeah, this one's mine. It's pretty basic, but I don't know, I like it. And again, I'm not gonna take the keycap off so you can look at them, but I have Heiko Royal Clears on here. Again, I don't know, people don't like them, but I really enjoy the Heiko Royal Clear. And here's a real quick typing test on it. So yeah, that's the discipline, and this is the Rev one. All right, so this next one is really cool. This is an Artwizu keyboard. I hope I pronounced that right. Artwizu. Anyway, you can read it down here. And this is designed by Fate Design. So there's this one guy, again, it's a completely open source project. You can download all of these files and get them manufactured. But this guy made an Alice-like split with all SMD components. So even the USB port is a SMD USB port. And this is a micro USB port. Not my favorite port choice, but I'm glad, but I mean, you know, he made it. A lot of people have actually taken this design and modified it so that way it has a USB-C port and that it has a through-hole USB-C port, because a lot of people had trouble soldering on this port, including myself. I actually ruined 3 PCBs trying to solder that port on. But the 4th PCB, magically it all worked out. Now this has the Kiwi switches. So these Kiwi switches are from the Key Company, TKC for short. And then it has Durox stabilizers, and they've been lubed appropriately. So yeah, it's a pretty cool build. I actually don't have any keycaps on this because I'm using them on a different keyboard that I'll show here in just a minute. But I really do like this keyboard. The only thing I don't like is the guy also designed this case, but as you can see, there's like slack in it, so it kind of moves around a little bit when you're typing, so it's kind of annoying. But still, I think it's a really cool design, and I'm so happy that it's open source because I love looking at open source projects. But yeah, and I got the clear acrylic case so you could really see all those SMD components that are down in there. Like, just look at that. That is so cool. And of course, that's the real crux of it with the microcontroller and the that USB port. I wish I could show you all, but I just can't do it justice in like how difficult it was to solder on that USB port. But yeah, so the Artwizu, completely open source design, my first Alice-like design, so it has kind of, you know, that ergonomic split, and it had dedicated arrow keys, which is one reason why I preferred it over the actual Alice itself. All right, last but not least is my most recent, and I'm gonna be biased, and I'm gonna say it's my favorite custom keyboard so far, and this is the Kbdfan's Vulcan collaboration, the Magia. It's really cool. I have GMK Camping on it right now. This is a lot of firsts for me. This is my first keyboard that I actually bought at group buy. So I had just graduated from university and I had the money, and so I was like, you know, I'm gonna get myself a nice keyboard. And so this was my favorite of all the group buys that were available at the time. So I went in on this one, and yeah, it was run through KBDfans, and I really like it. It's that Alice-like split that you see is very common in a lot of builds, and I like this because it has the dedicated arrow keys. It actually has USB-C. It has an RGB underglow, which was interesting, and I got the hot swap PCB because I really wanted a higher end hot swap keyboard so I could try out new switches. In this keyboard, I actually have some silent boba switches that I really like a lot. But you can see this is also my first polycarb, so you can see through it and you can see right down to my brass plate. I wanted this as quiet as possible, so I have 2 layers of foam. So there's a layer of foam underneath so there's a plate foam, and then there's a layer of foam underneath the PCB itself. And then on the back, it has this really cool weight. It's not the polished brass, so it's not like a mirrored brass, but it is smooth. So it resists fingerprints a little bit better, and it looks really cool with the little Magia like logo. And the USB port actually looks really cool from the back shot as well. They did a good job designing that. So yeah, I think it's really cool. I really enjoy like this build. And yeah, I'm gonna do a real quick type on it. And I thought GMK Camping just looked amazing on it as well. But yeah, I'm gonna do a real quick type, and it's super silent. And yeah, so that's it. All right, so that's all the keyboards I have to show you all today. Thanks for coming along and just taking a more in-depth look at the custom keyboards I have. I actually did just now get a new custom keyboard in, so hopefully it will appear in some later video, but I don't want to spoil it because it's a really cool build itself. And yeah, so if you all have any questions, you know, let me know in the comments down below. I'm gonna link to all of the various keyboards. Like I said, the Magia was on group buy, so you'll have a hard time. You might be able to find it on the aftermarket, but it definitely isn't sold anywhere. These two, you can buy all the parts on KBDfans. I'm sure they're all still in stock, or at least they come in stock fairly regularly. Yeah, look out for the Discipline because he sells kits of it, but you can get it manufactured yourself. And the Arizu is completely manufactured yourself, and all the design files are freely available. All right, so if you all have any questions, please leave them in the comments down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. All right, see ya.